On this episode of Tastemakers.
What's up, guys? Let's unlock the essence of style as we go behind the scenes with Fetty NY, as we explore the innovations, inspiration, also the DNA of this emerging fashion brand. This is Tastemakers. What's up, guys? Welcome to Tastemakers. I'm your host, CJ Mitchell. On today's episode, I'll be discussing with two brothers who are creative directors and designers of an emerging fashion brand named Fetti NY. I have here Julian and Jeff. What's up, guys? How y'all doing? And they got me in the exclusive one-on-one, so
you're looking right.
This is a treat to be wearing this on this. So look, I want to know about you guys' story and journey. We are here in Las Sudas,
the south side, Williamsburg, Brooklyn, our hometown.
And then also, I want to know about the behind the scenes of building a brand and designing the collection. So, will you guys take me on this journey?
Of course.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Alright guys, so we're here in your neighborhood and this is your building. Tell me about some of the significant memories that you have on this block, in this area.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it all started, especially with me, I came from the Dominican Republic at the age of 11, and this is when I really became immersed with what the culture of New York City is, right? Especially being around my people from the Dominican Republic in this neighborhood, and kind of that blend of hip hop culture with the culture of the Dominican Republic that kind of became so instrumental for both of our the formation and the aesthetic of how we think and how we want to express ourselves. So no, this was incredibly important for us. If it wasn't for us being raised in this particular radius of 3 or 4 blocks, I think it would have been totally different for us. Community was a bit different in terms of, it was pre-gentrification. So the vibe outside in the summertime was just totally different, being like a kid and being around other kids and kind of having that community of just being out on the street, something that we don't really see that much now just because things have changed.
I mean, it was fun, as a kid, you feel like you're experimenting and you're also learning. So that's where your fundamentals for a creative flow, I feel starts kicking in when you're in school, young.
Exactly. You don't know what it is at first, but as you tap in more into it, it's like, okay, what is this bug? Let me experience it more. Let me, tap in more into it.
So even, with community, learning off other kids, things you were introduced to, getting introduced to that as well.
Exactly. What were some of your rituals and traditions that you guys keep to this day growing up from you?
I would say exploring. You explore the neighborhood, you walk, you see things you've never seen before, you see people you haven't seen before, just it's an experience. Just walking through and finding inspiration in life.
And that's key to the identity of the brand, which we'll touch on later, I'm sure. The ethos of our brand is finding inspiration everywhere.
It's the DNA of your brand.
Exactly.
Speaking of your brand, I want to know more of how the process is. Let's jump into that. Let's, go on a journey and let's dig in. All right?
Do it.
This is Tastemakers, guys. So now we're in the garment district where everything is all, process, fashion, fabric, and whatnot. We're here at one of the fabric stores that you guys particularly source fabric from.
Yeah, so this is AK Fabrics. Everyone comes here, but there's a reason for that, right?
you know, the owner is a great dude.
So this been here for years. It's like you've been coming to the garment district. This is a legendary place where you can source a lot of different fabrics, materials, and just, you know, use it to move to the next step as a sample.
Let's go on the journey. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
8. Okay. 8. There's so much fabric. I wonder where they import all this from. But
All different countries.
so I have a question for you.
Right.
You and your brother are co-creators and designers of the brand.
Right.
What was the inspiration of starting the brand? Like, whose idea was it?
Initially, it was my idea.
Really?
Yeah, but if it wasn't for Jeff, like, I wouldn't even have a design process, because like my inspiration for fashion came from him being my older brother, and like getting all the fresh hand-me-downs and like
So he
being
was
the
the
same
flyest
size.
one?
Yeah, you know. So,
Yeah,
So
I
you
know.
know, it came from him, and from there, it grew onto me, and I got my own swag.
So with creating a brand, what is the process like? Like, walk me through that. You know, we're here at where the magic begins, the foundation. What goes into designing?
So I'll start small with a capsule, like maybe a garment I have in mind. Let me go source what would fit that aesthetically. And if the design doesn't really match what I'm looking for, then me and Jeff would bounce off each other's ideas and you know, tweak certain things. We like pushing the envelope and doing a lot of challenging things. So when it comes to aesthetic, I would say we like a challenge.
Okay. Would you ever do something that is outside the grain of like your aesthetic?
Absolutely. I feel like there's a lot of different fabrics and materials we could dabble with. I would say corduroy is something I'm really looking into.
Corduroy is fire.
Doing something with a lot of pleats.
Like wax denim.
Wax denim.
Yeah.
I like
Growing up, I always had an affinity towards fashion, and it was strictly from a consumer standpoint, and you know, I admit that. You know, later on, my brother had this idea. He said, "Hey, you know, I want to start a clothing brand, and I want you to be part of it with me." And that was really the genesis of Fetti, right? That's where it was born. I had no aspirations to be a fashion designer ever. I always loved fashion, but I never thought I had a creative bone in my body, right? That was never a thing.
Isn't it funny when you don't expect it?
Yeah,
it happens,
and
you know?
it was, you know, it came out of nowhere. Not for me, it did. And then from there, I was like, okay, you know, if we're gonna do this, we have to do it different. Like we can't just be another brand saturating. The stuff we make is not for everyone.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be for everyone.
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't need to be. And essentially, art acts the same way, whether it's a great film, whether it's a great piece of art. Not everyone's going to like it,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Fashion is art.
And fashion is art, and that's what we aspire to do.
Fashion's about playing, you know? What creative differences do you guys have? Because I know you have them.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure. Yeah, you know, every
How do you
great duo
overcome-
has a creative differences,
Exactly.
you know? Yeah.
So
yeah.
can you tell me about like a time where there was a creative difference and how did you guys go through it? Because I know working with a partner is challenging, but working with a sibling is even more challenging.
It's challenging, but it's also a blessing because we know that whatever differences we have, we're not going nowhere. So it's like, it doesn't matter how difficult that disagreement may be.
Yeah.
It's like, we know at the end of the day, it's like, we're gonna figure it out because like,
Exactly.
where are you going, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
So that's the blessing versus, you know, it being with a partner that, you know, sometimes you have differences that lead to kind of moments that sever the relationship. That's not the situation with us, of course. So, you know, we've kind of learned to like manage those expectations in terms of, you know, managing our differences.
Yeah.
But mostly it's not always about what the end goal is. It's sometimes about the approach to that end goal. Right? So like, how do the mechanisms to arrive at a specific, you know, outcome. There's this the saying that there's nothing new under the sun.
Exactly.
That's true. Our, you know, I'm gonna get a little nerdy here, but scientifically speaking, our brain is not able to create something that's 100% new. It's always based on past things that you've experienced.
Yeah. All right, so we touched base on like the sourcing the fabrics and, you know, beginning the process of creating. Now I want to see what it's like to be in the design studio workspace and go through what you guys do to create a piece of merchandise or a collection. So stay tuned. On to the next location. This is Tastemakers. Alright guys, so now we're here in the design studio. You took us to your playground, took it to the stomping ground, now the work ground. What inspired the latest collection? I see you have pieces from it here, which is super fire. Like you have the red denim, which is a new color that y'all have been experimenting with.
Yeah.
Then also I see a green similarity as well.
Right.
Like there's
a connector to the colors too. A subtle one. The logo, we kind of want it to be something that if you see it, you see it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of meaning in our logo. And at its surface, it looks like a combination of like a cross with an anchor.
Yeah, like
which,
I see it right here.
Yeah.
It's on the back of my jacket.
Yeah, and that's
your jacket.
Right.
Yeah, that's just the bottom half there. But the full logo is really every letter of Fetti embedded in the logo. If you trace it, you see an F, you see an E, you see the two T's, the kind of one in the middle, and then you see the I and that's why you have the tittle on top of the logo. So it spells out Fetti. And additionally, you know, we purposely added the cross and the anchor there to symbolize, you know, things that the brand stands for.
Fetti is an acronym.
Yeah.
And you know,
No, tell me about it.
oh yeah, the reason why we added each letter into the logo is because Fetti stands for Find Everything That Inspires.
So how long did it take you guys to create the logo?
Man, Jeff was in college, man.
Yeah.
Like
I remember it was yesterday, and I have an image of the first sketch when I was in class with the timestamp. Ever since then, that's when the brand was born. So the brand was born, you know, a while ago, 9 years ago. But
and you still just feel like it's getting started. Right?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. The brand has just gotten started now.
I remember this piece here when it
this was like our second drop. Yeah, when it came to cutting soda.
It's one of those things, one of those pieces that detaches too.
Right. So we got the sleeves. It turns into a vest. And
it's a modular garment. So you can unzip the bottom. And you can take that bottom strip and you can literally just wear it as like a puffer scarf around your neck. And then you can unzip all of the extremities or the arms and wear as a vest, which makes it, you know, a very complex piece of garment.
Guys, exclusives. That exclusive.
Perfect.
You know, one of one, which is good.
There's the raw denim. All of our denim is sourced from Japan. So we use Japanese denim, which is some of the best denim you can get.
Best quality
and
too,
we don't want to compromise on that at all. Like, we don't compromise on the quality of our fabrics.
No.
We take time to source that.
I could tell. It's like real fine. You can feel with the textures. It's a nice. It's not too stiff. It's not too soft. It's like really just in between. You know what I mean?
With any garment that you want, like you want it to be a staple garment. You want it to have longevity.
Yeah.
So you know, like you want it to be sustainable. You want it to have 10 years plus and still live in your closet.
Tell me about the red. Is it part of like the Dominican culture or like?
Wow, you're good, man. Like you're catching it. So we wanted you pay attention. So yeah, we have not communicated that to anyone. A big part of the way we process that, we like to just put subtle kind of Easter eggs into the collection, and sometimes people will catch us. Hey, I see you did this. Like, okay, you see it. Same thing with the logo. We never speak about the complexities of the logo and what it means, but sometimes people will catch it. You know, we're not trying to be mysterious, but we just want that plays on the concept of art being subjective, right? And we want people to look at our garments, our logo, whatever it is, and draw their own conclusion. So on the colorways, you know, we're both, we're brothers, we're Dominican. So we wanted to add like a little, you know, homage to our culture there and our flag. So it's really just a play on the red, the blue, and the green of the emblem in the middle of the flag. And that's a little kind of, you know, Easter egg that we threw in there into the three colorways. When the idea for the multi-pocket pant came to us, it was based on the idea of abundance. And that's like, how can we manifest that idea of abundance into a garment that is, one, built on quality, but it's also built and designed and constructed on something that already exists, and how can we add to that? We've gotten a lot of popularity from that particular pant. I know whenever people see it, it's like, oh shit, you know, it has like how many pockets you got on that.
Exactly.
And it's kind of like a conversation starter.
Yeah.
And it's also the fact that we're constructing it in such high quality denim. It gives it a good balance of craftsmanship to experimental design. This, we wanted to do a play on like the trench coat and incorporate some of those components of the trench into the denim jacket. So you see here, we have kind of like the belt that goes across the hem of the jacket here, and we have, you know, kind of like the panels that you would see on a trench.
Yeah.
And we kind of wanted to incorporate that.
And the logo is still bright as day, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Into the garment.
You know, there's been a lot of music artists, rappers wearing your brands. With the amount of influence that these people have, does it transition to helping the business profit more?
It does. It does. In a way. Obviously, we don't want that to be the driving force of our, you know, brand. To a small degree, it's nothing that, you know, it's gonna make us, you know, blow up within one day. But that's not the route we want to take with the brand. We want a community of people to really wear our stuff for what it is. We want them to wear our stuff for, you know, the design concept.
What else are you guys working on? Like, what's new? What is the Fetti brothers cooking up in their lab?
Yeah, we have a lot, you know.
It's a lot on the boat right now.
Juice wearing right now a piece that we dropped in 2022 that we're still, you know, selling at this point.
Yeah.
And it's kind of builds on this concept of the collar of a shirt.
Exactly.
And you see the gusset here. So if you were to flip it and like kind of put this on your like neck, you see that it's kind of like,
it's so
okay,
funny.
it's like a collar. So it's like, how do we take different components that already exist in the garment, transform them or move them around, but making it in a way that is tasteful? And you know, with the multi-belt loop,
which is something new that you guys are tapping into.
iterative of our first cut and sew jacket that you're wearing right now.
This was back in 2022. Yeah, we had added these belt loops to the cuff at first, and then we were like, yo, what would this look like all around a whole set?
For anybody who wants to be a designer or up and coming, you know, fashion designer, or want to work in the fashion industry, what advice would you give them?
I would say don't be afraid. You know, step out your comfort zone and really go try things, go experience things, go be curious, experiment. Don't be afraid of what anybody got to say. You know, you don't need anybody's validation.
It's gonna feel difficult at first, but you'll see that what's keeping you from seeing the third step is not taking the second step. You know, so you have to take that step in order for you to get closer to the illuminating path, you know? And you're not gonna see that third step until you make that first and second step.
I want to say thank you guys for taking the time to spend the day with me, taking me on your journey on what it is to be a fashion designer and creative director for a brand. I'm forever grateful. This has been a treat, honestly. I learned a lot about the brand and the DNA. So thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, bro.
Tastemakers, this has been episode with Fetti Brothers. I'm your host, CJ Mitchell, and I'll see you next time. Does it help the business drive up?
Yo, it's chill for real. Yo, for real, bro. We gotta wrap it up.
We gotta wrap it up. Alright, yo,